Hi, I'm Life Coach Landry, and the topic today is who's at fault in a breakup. So everybody goes through a breakup, everybody sits around, everybody wonders what's going on. You know, you're hurt, you're emotional, you don't know what you want to do, you're angry, you want to say things to them, but you still want to get back together, so you get very confused, you don't know what you're going to do. I'm going to break it down with you. There's probably about 3 fundamentals to a breakup. Number 1, who said I want to break up? Now, typically when someone says they want to break up, what they're kind of saying is something is not being resolved and I can't do it anymore. And now we're assuming this is between 2 people. I'm not going to talk about breakups where someone cheated or something. Obviously, if someone cheated on you, then you know why you broke up, right? We're talking about the people that get in a fight and they're almost like, what were we fighting about? I don't even know what happened. These are the ones you want to care about. So typically what happens is the one who breaks up with somebody isn't always at fault, believe it or not. Someone is usually pushed to a breaking point if they're telling you they want to break up. Like if it's out of emotion, then they probably don't really want to break up, but you push them to a breaking point, right? So the next topic on that would be, okay, so if they broke up with you, who should initiate conversation if you still want to be with the person that dumped you? It should be you, believe it or not. Now you might be saying, but they dumped me. Now, what you have to pay attention to is if somebody was giving you warning shots for a long time during your relationship about things that were needed to stop or you shouldn't be doing, and you keep doing them, you're going to get dumped. Okay? If you want to be with somebody, you had 2 choices, either to change your behavior patterns or not to change your behavior patterns. Now, you might say, oh, man, but that's just who I am. Well, is it? Because who you are and who you want to be are often different things, right? So who you want to be is in a loving, committed relationship, and who you are someone who's trying to get there, correct? Now, I'm not saying throw away who you are, but there's clearly behavior patterns that we have that aren't healthy, that if inside a relationship are going to make a relationship go downhill. So what do you have to do? You have to change some of your behaviors in order. That's why I always tell people, when I've coached people, I always remind them, you might think you just get to be yourself in a relationship. You do to a certain degree. I would say 80% of you gets to be present in a relationship. 20% of you is tweaking for the person you're with and things like that. Not everybody's going to get what they want in a relationship, okay? Not everything, right? So what you should do is think about what things are most important to me. What are my top 3 things that when I meet somebody, that if those needs are being met, then the rest of them are wants. And if I don't always get my wants, you need to reevaluate whether those wants need to become needs or they were just simply wants and they're not as big of a deal as you're making them out to be in the moment. Remember, when we fight, our immediate response is to be defensive and angry and furious with the person because they're hurting our feelings. And when we're hurt, we act out, right? When we're hurt, we act out towards people. That doesn't mean you acting out or you being hurt is justified, but it does mean you're going to go through that cycle. That's why everybody says cooler heads prevail. However, who's at fault in the end of the day? Okay, so every circumstance is different, but I can tell you right now that if somebody had been giving you warning shots and you had 2 to 3 conversations about the same topic and it happened again, you were warned. And so if you get dumped, you don't get to sit back and go, you don't accept who I am. You don't love me right. You don't get to do all those things, right? You got to do those things when they were talking to you about what was going on and you didn't address them. Now, a lot of people might be going, what if what they were coming at me with was unrealistic and then they dumped me anyways? Well, if it was unrealistic, why didn't you break up with them? Why didn't you leave the relationship? Because some part of you thought it was okay. You weren't completely turned away by what they were doing. It wasn't a need that you were losing when they went about things the way they did. So these are quick things for you to think about. I want you to know that just because you get dumped does not immediately make you a victim in a relationship. Just because you dump somebody doesn't mean you're right in a relationship. If the 2 people want to be back together, the first things they're going to say once they cool down is, let's talk. That's what they want to do right away. Let's talk. If you go out, you put yourself out of the way to say, let's talk, and they get back to you, but it's an elongated, like, okay, I can meet you like 7:00 tonight. You might feel a sense of, well, they're not really being urgent about wanting to talk. It sounds like they can go about their day and get to me when they get to me. So when you push talking off after a day has already passed or the moment has passed, it typically starts to unwind in a sense of you don't feel like you're getting addressed. So when we're hurt, we want attention, right? So if you're hurt and you want attention, you should want to talk. If you don't want to talk, then maybe part of you doesn't want to be in that relationship anymore. Now you might want to say, well, I had things going on. I was busy. Well, then you have a priority problem, right? So when I go through a breakup or went through a breakup, one of the things that I would say to the other person is I want to talk. And I kind of made it more of like can we get together in an hour? Because I'm feeling like I am. And if they can't, like I want to hear why they can't, not that, oh, I can meet you later like this time. Because then it just sounds like other things are more important, right? And nobody wants to feel that when your feelings are hurt and you're really thinking about them, you don't expect them there in 5 minutes. But if you can give someone an hour or two heads up, and then they get to you, they should basically come back to you and say, I either missed your message, I have something else going on, but I can meet you in an hour. Where would you like to meet? That shows I'm missing you too. I'm hurting too, but I certainly don't want to be without you. And what's important in relationships, the most important thing in any relationship across the board is that no matter what happens, how mad you are, how upset you are, if the love is still there at the center of the relationship, if trust and commitment is still at the center of the relationship, your whole motive should be resolve and trying to get to them as soon as you cool down, as soon as possible. The more delay in between that, the more likely resentment